Fruity Pebbles on ice, drunken noodles with duck on a Sunday night when it's raining and I'm sad. Fried chicken and waffles with maple syrup and hot sauce. The mushroom flan at Chichi Osteria and Barrio Logan.
Yeah.
The quesabirria taco at Ed Fernandez down near the border. The oove at the French Laundry. It's just a little egg. It's a creamy thing. Travis Swikert's Aleppo chicken at Cali. Those are some of the best damn things I've ever eaten in my life. Fruity Pebbles and ice cold milk are real close to the top. Only because when I was a kid, you were allowed to have as many sugar cereals as humanly possible for an 8-year-old to eat. Because my mom, for all of her charms, nutrition was not in the arsenal of things. And she said, you know what, man? Sugar seems to make this kid happy and energetic.
I imagine giving sugar to a little Troy Johnson. Couldn't be me.
God.
And I think it's funny because your dad was a dentist too.
I know. And the meal that I had coming out of the pandemic, there's a few things that came out of the pandemic for me. One was going into Padres Stadium when it was first full of people again, when they let people back into the stadium. Claire and I went, and you saw this sea of humanity. Everybody just so desperate and happy and just to be around other human beings. The wave started, and Claire and I cried. And one of the first meals that I had back when we could really dine out was at Je ne Jolie after Eric Bost came down. He's one of the best chefs in the country, came down to San Diego to kind of helm that kitchen again. I wrote this article that said, holy shit, this man is cooking on an entirely different planet. It's the best meal I've ever had in my life. And about 6 months later, he got his first Michelin star. And then this year, they opened up, him and his partner, John Resnick, opened up Wildland, Lilo. They've got 4 restaurants on the same damn street in Carlsbad. They own the town, are coming onto our podcast today.
Hey, you kind of called all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say you're responsible.
That definitely was not the point.
I know it.
But if credit is just out there floating and credit is being, kind of orphaned, I would gobble all that
Listen,
credit.
you can identify talent.
Self-aggrandized glory. It was just, it really was one of those meals, though, Jack. I mean, you taste it and there's something different about it. Again,
You're just
Travis Swiker's chicken, like you get the quesabirria that first time down at Ed Fernandez and it's just kind of dripping in the birria. Oh, you're like, oh my God, this is just different. There's just different times. We are going to tell the story today. Welcome to Happy Half Hour, by the way. Troy Johnson. Hi. Jackie Bryant. Hi. This is everything you're going to need to know about San Diego's food and drink scene this week. Last week, we had the people from City Farmers Nursery. They told us their entire story about being a 52-year-old nursery and having a tiny little musician-based hippie cafe on site in City Heights. Pretty amazing story about how the trees and the plants represent a lot of the languages that are spoken within the City Heights, which is the most multiculturally diverse neighborhood in the United States, according to our guests. I'd have to fact check that. But anyways, if you didn't get that one, go get it. Go check it out. And today, Lilo is the newest Michelin star in San Diego. We're going to get the story of how it came to be. And it was not easy. It was a road that started during the pandemic. They signed a lease in 2021. It took them 4 years to build that thing out and open that space. Got to a point where they thought they might have to turn around or change plans, or at least come around the table, take a deep breath and go, do we still want to do this? They finally did. In about 7 seconds after they opened the door, they got the first Michelin star. So we're going to get their story. How are you? What's going on, Jack?
I mean, I'm watching this tempest brew outside of our recording studio right now.
So if you can't see it at home, this is windows out on the 8th floor
I know.
of
I hate
our
to be
San Diego Magazine offices, and it's a storm.
I hate to be the person that talks about weather, right? It's just that we don't get it very often here. So when we do, I actually think that it's like a valid social tick to mention it.
Talk about a social tick. Claire thinks it's so weird that we call it weather. She's like, what do you mean weather? Like weather's every day. And I'm like, no. We don't ever think about it in San Diego because we just don't have thunderstorms, weather events, aside from fires. We don't think about them very much. So when we get a cloud, we get a rain, we're like, whoa,
that is a phenomenon. There is a phenomenon. I mean, the skies are black. It's raining. It feels like we're in a different city than we're in right now. So I'm feeling a little weird. I don't know. I get weird when it gets cloudy.
Yeah. you know, it's a pressure build up. You know, I mean, Jackie Bryant, you are your own weather system. You know, you definitely
A lot of lightning.
Yeah, a lot of lightning, scattered.
Scattered thunderstorms.
Whether or not thunderstorms, scattered. Scattered works. All right. Well, that's enough of that. Why don't we just pop right into news?
Yeah. So Necessity Coffee is relocating in Encinitas. So they've been open for 2.5 years in a tiny alley storefront. And now they're moving to a larger, brighter location at 687 2nd Street in Encinitas. It's slated to open in November. And they pretty much doubled the space. So the owner is John Runyon. And he says the drink menu changes every 6 weeks. So they're big on creative drinks, creative coffee drinks. I think if you've been to a really good artisanal coffee shop in San Diego these days, you know what I'm talking about. Blended drinks, espresso tonics, yada, 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 flavored syrups. They're also going to have a menu. So this expansion includes a kitchen, a food program with Manny DeLuz and Charlie Knowles of Bika, who are like two of my personal favorite just people and cooks in town, plus beer and wine. The menu will have tapas-style plates similar to Bika for later service in the day, and the shop will evolve into more of like a cafe, community hub, lounge space. So they're focusing on coffee, drinks, excellent service, just kind of upgrading it, giving it a food menu, giving it more space. So it's Necessity Coffee.
I'm sorry. I was just being distracted because John Runyon, or Runyon, was the name of a football player in the 80s.
Oh.
Yeah. And not that you would.
I would not know that.
You would not know that. You're more of a hockey person.
I would not know that.
But he was a really famous football player. And so ever since you said that,
it's
I'm
not
like,
him, right?
No.
Okay.
No, but I've been Googling it. So
that's like a San Diego thing that could happen. Like,
how did you do on your news segment? Was that good?
What, who?
Did you do that news segment well? Did you feel good? Because I didn't hear anything. I just
I mean, I think so. I guess we'll get the feedback. I kind of blacked out for it. Like, what did I even say?
Necessity Coffee. All right, that's it. What's next?
So the Brigantine, a big bay proposal. They took over 2 fish market locations and Top of the Market earlier this year. And they've got a big next move, a $25.5 million proposal called The Landing on the downtown Embarcadero. Plans, which are, I've seen some of the renderings. They're very glossy. They're very gleaming. They include new restaurants, walking paths, waterfront redevelopment, all by 2029, which, you know, we'll see. And if approved, it would transform the bayfront while keeping our views intact, which honestly, we need more egalitarian and enjoyable and not tourist or commerce or military inundated waterfront spaces in this town. I am all for it.
Yeah, I think.
Will I drive there and park there and do it? We'll see. But I am all for it.
You know, I think that the headquarters was that idea too. Was actually let's start modernizing our
Liberty Station too.
Liberty Station,
it's the Seaport.
You know, I mean, in Seaport Village, God bless. I was first on a show for CBS. When I was 8 years old. There was a show called Biff and Skippy that was run by Larry Himmel, starred by Larry Himmel. He was a classic, just beloved anchorman in San Diego, or it was kind of a reporter at large, and he had this like really funny like Southern California, zinc on the nose.
Back
sort
when
of.
you could have those jobs.
Yeah, right. That was
that guy.
Yeah. So I remember they got me in one segment because I had my Seaport Village balloon, you know, and I was 8 years old. It was the biggest moment of my life at that point in time, and I knew that I was hooked forever, and I'd be chasing that dragon of being on TV for a long, long time, and even after I was I should have quit a long time ago. But point being, Seaport Village has needed to resuscitate. All the waterfront realized that it needed to resuscitate. We needed to modernize. We needed different things. You know, we
were a waterfront city with no real waterfront.
I know. You know, it's like our waterfront at some point kind of became like Avenida Revolucion in Tijuana was. Right. It was built for tourists, not for locals. And even tourists, the kind of tourists that you want to go someplace where it feels like locals go, not like it was designed for somebody that's from out of town. So they want the chains,
the restaurants, the stuff that they're used to, the yada, 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 stuff that we may not really care about.
Yeah, exactly. So this waterfront news is really good because the Brigantine has been around for a long, long time. And they've been, started with a single family, start with seafood, you know, they cannot be in an OG icon, $25.5 million investing in the waterfront. It's no small thing.
That is not a small deal.
All right. So bites, run through them. Let's do it.
Eliza Woodman of Communion. She won the world's best Mai Tai competition. That's literally what it's called in Las Vegas, pocketing $15,000. Her Mai Tai is on the rooftop menu now, and she's rich.
Go try a $15,000 Mai Tai at Communion. Great rooftop bar.
And so Lilo in Carlsbad, our guest today, they keep racking up accolades. After a Michelin star, the New York Times named it one of the best 50 restaurants in America and the only one in the San Diego area. Very cool. I think they could have named a few more, but whatever. No big deal. Woodstock's Pizza is closing its Pacific Beach location September 21st. SDSU and other college-adjacent locations remain open. This is actually big news.
Woodstock's Pizza closing is really big news for me because when I was in college, this was back in the pioneer days. It was the covered wagon days.
Yeah, I was going to say, woo, they haven't opened that long.
This is no joke. So I was a pizza delivery guy for Woodstock's Pizza in Chico.
I think that, wait.
What? And so when I was the pizza delivery boy, we didn't have phones. We didn't have smartphones. You didn't have any maps. You had to use a Thomas Brothers map in the dark with a flashlight. It was like A7.
That's fine.
Okay.
Am I on that one?
So just in case we're not going to edit this thing, I thought we had 2 cameras going right now. We didn't.
We don't.
Anyways, back to that point.
I just didn't even know they were up there.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It was a really tight knit crew. It was a bunch of hippies up there.
God, that sounds fun.
And so you'd have to go Q7, A4, and find this address in the dark. And you're not smart yet. You're only like 19, 20 years old. Yeah. And one time, and everybody smoked weed in Chico. That was where I first discovered chronic weed.
That's where weed is from.
I know. So I go up there and I knock on somebody's door and deliver pizza. He goes, "Hey, look, I know your owner," and he's like, "I don't have any money, but you might have, I'll just give you a bong rip." And I said, I was like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "I don't know if I should do this." He goes, "Look, I know your owner and I know he's okay with this. We do this all the time." So I take this massive bong rip and I get back in the car. This is a long time ago, making bad decisions. I don't endorse that. So get in the car, go back to the pizza joint. A, I still had 3 pizzas in my car that I forgot to deliver. B, I get to the line, and that's when you had to make your pizzas and you had to deliver them. We were multifaceted, many hat working college workers. And so I'm trying to make a pepperoni pizza. I was so high that I didn't know how to make a pepperoni pizza.
I could see all of this transpiring.
I didn't know how to drizzle the cheese. I was going so slow like this, oh, everything's going to be okay.
And listen, none of this should be misconstrued as evidence of Woodstock's business model.
No, not at all. That was way, way back in the day in a different town. But my manager just looked at me and he goes, "You should probably go home." And he was really cool about it. So I'll come back tomorrow. Yeah. That sounds good. Anyways, sorry to hear that.
This is news. They've a case in point. They have been around for fucking everywhere, and they've been everywhere. So that they're closing a PB location, which it's definitely a big deal. So
I know.
Glad to hear the other college locations are open.
Another one is expanding in PB.
12 Hours Matcha Cafe. It's bringing its neon green lattes and desserts to Garnet Avenue.
There
Who knows? Maybe the same spot. I'm not even sure. So Mothership is getting in the vibe. My 2-year-old son has just discovered Halloween. It's the first holiday that he's ever recognized. He's calling it Halloween. And anything he sees that's dark and spooky, he says Halloween. Very cute. So Mothership is getting in the Halloween vibe from October 1st to November 2nd, a whole month. The cocooning takes over with sci-fi camp vibes and creepy cocktails, as if you thought that place
also
could get.
Named one of the top 50 bars in the United States by Esquire. I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one. They keep coming down here and giving us love, which I appreciate. So Torque Coffee turned 1. The celebration is September 20th with it. We're not going to make that for this episode.
Yeah, whatever. We'll scratch that
Never
one.
mind. But Torque Coffee, it turned 1. You're welcome.
Moving on. Finca in North Park.
I love this. They just got National Love from Wine Spectator as one of their editors' favorite wine bars. I just love that any editor in the United States that is not already here is paying attention to us and finding bests here in our fair city because we deserve it and Finca deserves it and they do have a great wine list. And I'm very stoked to hear that.
Yeah, Finca's fantastic. Go check it out. It's right across the street from Tribute Pizza, another fantastic North Park place. That's your news. Beth Demon keeps a food news column for San Diego Magazine on sdmag.com, or excuse me, san diego magazine.com. There is an Instagram out there called SD Magazine that is using our logo.
Oh, no, it's SD Mag Magazine.
It's SD Mag Magazine. I think they're using our logo, too,
They
right?
are, yes.
They're using our logo. So if you happen to see that Instagram out there, that's not us.
It's San Diego Mag.
We've tried to complain about that site so many times.
I report it about once or twice a month, just like whenever I come across it.
They won't take it down. It's like, wait a minute. They're like, yeah, we've looked into this, and it looks like they're completely impersonating and tough shit, man. And it's like Mark Zuckerberg just puts a few emojis in there. Anyways, San Diego Magazine.com. Beth Denneman keeps a fantastic food news blog up there. now bringing on two people that I've known in San Diego's food scene. Well, one, only a few years. One I've known for like 15, 20 when he landed here in San Diego at the Hard Rock. And you kind of just knew this man was going to do really, really good things. And he has. The story of San Diego's newest Michelin star restaurant, how it all started with a single little bit of ice cream. As we were talking about earlier, our guests on the show today are somebody I met years and years and years ago. Worked for some of the better restaurants in town, running ops, running management, everything else. I believe went to Harvard Hospitality School?
Cornell.
Oh my God, that needs to be a retake. I'm sure he just insulted like all your lineage.
It's true.
Okay.
I've never felt more insulted than someone assuming I went to Harvard.
Point is, took hospitality very, very seriously, kind of brought that ethos to San Diego, worked his way up through CH Projects, obviously helped them, kind of ascend through San Diego's ranks, and then opened up Junet Jolie, Campfire first, Junet Jolie, and then that's where our story mixes with our second guest, who has worked at some of the best restaurants in the world, including kind of a stint here in San Diego early in your career. Correct?
Early on, yeah.
Early on, the at the Lodge at Torrey Pines, at the Inn at Rancho Santa Fe. And then it was with Guy Savoy.
Yep.
Guy Savoy.
8 years with Guy Savoy.
How many years?
8.
8 years. Okay, so you did 8 years, and you did with a lot of very accomplished chefs. Kind of went around the world, earning your chops. And then with Guy Savoy, you ran his restaurant in Vegas, and then also some of his outposts in Singapore.
Yep.
That's like going to Harvard. 8 years with Guy Savoy, running those restaurants. That's like going to Harvard too, I think.
Yeah, that's intense hand-to-hand Harvard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
It was.
It was a great 8 years, though.
It was a great 8 years. And then together, they got their first Michelin star at Jolie, and then just opened up Wildland, which is the all-day bistro across the street. Then right behind it, which is, it's just a magical little thing. It is a beautiful place. It's kind of a showcase of all the skills, not only obviously of you, but your entire staff and you. It's kind of everything that these guys have learned in 20 plus years of the industry into one magical room, which was open 7.5 minutes, and Michelin gave us another star. I swear to God, the Michelin inspector was there on Friends and Family. It was just like, nope, that's it.
It wasn't 10 minutes. That's for certain.
Yeah,
it was shorter than that.
It was shorter than 10 minutes. Everybody, welcome to the show. John Resnick, Eric Bost. Welcome.
Lovely to be here.
Applause.
I don't know who I expected that to applause at that
I was
one.
like, wait.
What are we
pausing?
What the fuck?
And then I was like, I have to say something.
I mean, this crowd was going wild.
I think we're just like, we're kind of starstruck
Well,
right now. I think we're being weird.
Well, you know what it was? No, you know what it was? I was at Double Wine and Food, and I said I wouldn't mention it again. But I was, talking in front of people for a long. I'm like, everybody, and I was introducing all these chefs. So I'm still in introduction mode. Welcome, you guys. I want to back up a little bit. So, start with you, Eric. So you had. After going your way through all of the kitchens, all the top kitchens in the country and the world, finally open up your new place. You open up your own place in LA called Auburn.
Yes.
Because I think this is kind of right before and where your guys' stories start to conjoin, right? And Auburn was, tell everybody what Auburn was.
So Auburn was, it was a big restaurant. It was 6,000 square feet. It was about 117 seats-ish. But it was my first restaurant that I got to build from the ground up, conceptualization, working with a great design team, menu planning, putting all the team together. So that was my first solo project. Again, like you said, 8 years with Guy Savoy. Leaving him, it was really about me figuring out, like, what did I want to do when I built my own place? And I developed this menu actually probably 5 years before I even got the restaurant open. At least the idea, which was write a menu,
Did
12
you do
items.
it on the clock? And that's wage theft. I just want to point this out.
What's up?
That's wage theft. You were doing it on the clock. With
I know.
I'm just kidding.
My brain never stops, so it's constant.
So so we had work on that for 5 years.
Well, I mean, it wasn't working for 5 years. It was just like
Yeah.
I came up with the idea, and it was. I mean, well, I don't even know. The base of it was give people as much flexibility as they could have in choosing how they wanted to design. We just needed to cook delicious food. We needed no overlap in techniques and product. And so we write a menu of 12 different items. People come in, they choose 4, 6, or 9 courses. Didn't matter, all sweet. Didn't matter what the progression was.
Yeah.
You just got to choose what you wanted to eat. And then it was up to us to like coordinate it, make it happen, and make the night special. And so, high quality product, seasonality was paramount. Things that were local, things that were interesting, unique combinations, unique techniques.
And people fucking love this restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, like the team worked really hard. We did really well. I was trying to create awareness out of nothing. I mean, I was like, I had worked for big chefs and big restaurants, and I was at Republic before I even opened Auburn. And so that, is a massive infrastructure and a great restaurant and does amazing things. This was mine and nobody knew who the hell I was. So it was like, we got to do something really important, really with a ton of integrity. And it's the best we could. And hopefully, get some butts in the seats.
I know. It doesn't matter how many years you've got under great chefs and how many skills that you've acquired along the way. You still are starting from scratch when you do your own thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And that was 2017. You came back to Southern California, and then 2019 when you opened that.
19 closed in 20. Yep, exactly.
So closed in 20. So I mean, this is and this was the story that I was kind of alluding to, is that you opened up Auburn and people are raving about it. And there's all the most, I forget the list of people, like Ackett's came, and the Grant Ackett's and
Rene Redzepi showed up in the kitchen one night, and so that was cool. We had Enrique Oliveira was there. We had a lot of people stop. I mean, LA's an amazing town. Tons of chefs come into town, so it's a cool place to just like see other people, and they were coming out and saying hello. So that was cool.
Yeah. So and then a year into it, COVID hits.
Yep.
Dining room shut down. You try, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, well, ultimately, it took 2.5 years to build a mountain of money spent on getting it open.
Sure.
Tons of, you're in a year, you're still paying everything down. We have a huge team. It's incredibly busy. Things are working well, but like the future was so uncertain at that time.
Yeah.
We were like limping along. And so ultimately my business partners as well had like mini restaurants and everything just fell apart. So it was like a decision based on like a globality, even bigger than just our restaurant, making sure that we were paying all our accounts payable, that everything, like all the money we owed was getting taken care of. Our team was getting taken care of as best ability and giving like at least a little bit of runway or security. And so, I mean, ultimately it was the decision was it was in the best conscious possible to just like not keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
So not to start this on a total bummer note, but I mean, this is where we start. I mean, this is everybody hit rock bottom in those couple of years. I mean, not everybody. I mean, some people made tons of money off of hand sanitizer and whatnot, but I mean, that crushed a lot of, especially the industry and everything else. And so your dream, you worked up for a long, long time, and you attached a lot of your friends and coworkers and chefs and everything else stops in 2020. And now you need a job.
Now I need a job. I also need to figure out like, what do I try and do with everyone who I knew? Like one of the biggest things of this whole like challenge or situation was like, the people who came were moving across the country to work with us. They had a job. They trusted us to like with their future, with like the money, their stability, with all this. And like, they were in the same situation we were, but I went from, and obviously being a chef, you put together teams. So your team is paramount to the success of any chef. At this point though, when you're the owner and chef and putting everything together, it's like, it just feels like there's a whole nother level of responsibility.
You got everybody in your wagon, and these people,
and you're like, I can't pay you anymore. I have no word for you anymore. Like, shit's happening to me. We lose everything, but also it's like all our team loses everything. So it definitely hits different at that point. Yeah,
because you're feeling the sadness not only for yourself, and for your lifelong dream. You're feeling sadness for everybody behind you, everybody on your side. And down similarly down at you were still going and everything was going pretty well for you down here with Campfire and Jeune. I'm sure it was really hard, but you had parted ways too with your founding partner and partner chef Andrew Bachelier, which you launched Jeune at Jolie with. So you were looking for a new partner. Right?
These things happened like really strangely right around the same time. Like the turbulence, besides just the turbulence that everybody was facing in 2020, just specifically about like the futures, what happened with Eric, and then the complications that were happening with us in terms of like what the future was going to be. We obviously were closed those first couple months as well. And when we were starting to work on the path to reopening, which was going to be in June, I think it was late June, that's when Andrew, we sat down and he had told me that he was thinking about not coming back. Andrew, who's obviously doing incredible things right now,
Just open up Chicken Hawks. Got mana.
Just open Chicken
Mana.
Hawk. Has mana. Yeah, which I've been mispronouncing apparently for a couple of years.
I've been calling it mana. And
yep.
I just saw his wife say it on an Instagram
That's
video.
what I did too. And I'm like, Laura can't be saying this wrong, so it's got to be me. And yeah, I'll work on that. But you know, like a lot of chefs, Andrew worked a ton.
Yeah.
And he had like a small growing family, like tiny little kids at home. And so kind of a like a weird benefit that he hadn't seen coming with being home for a couple months is he got to spend all this time with his kids and be a dad, and he just loved doing that. And so basically it was like gonna start slowing down. And anyway, so
and that's what he told me. He said, "Look, I said I got to leave to take. I got to be with my family." And that's what we all realized during the pandemic, and there's a lot of us. You know, I mean, and it got hard to regain a work ethic in the United States after that, because it was like, wow, I really got to spend time with a person I loved. I got to spend time with everything else. How am I ever going to go back to that?
Or the opposite happened, and a lot of people got divorced. But yes, I like the glasses half full that you're on there.
The glasses were rosy. The glasses were dark. There was a lot of
leveled up. You know.
Yeah, some people leveled up. Down. There you go.
Like my neighbor across the street was getting ripped. They had this like outdoor gym, and there was just, I mean, body sculpting going on nonstop. And I was the neighbor across the way in this front yard drinking bottles of wine.
I hiked 5 miles a day for a year. I looked sick, like good sick, like amazing.
Nice.
I was like tan and ripped because I was like got off my ass for the first time in my life. That's over. Those years are
That's over.
We're back to normal.
We all make choices.
I'm back to the ass sitting.
Anyway, I mean. When Andrew and I sat down and had that conversation, I think it was the day after, or maybe like 2 days after, I actually had listened to another podcast that Eric was on. He was on Dave Chain's podcast, just kind of talking about the closure of Auburn. And towards the end of, and I was listening to that, and towards the end of it, David asked Eric, you know, what was going to kind of be next for him. And he said something along the lines
of... John said, me.
Yeah, he said, you know, hopefully find some like-minded people and you know, and do something cool together. Paraphrasing what he said. Eric's more eloquent than that. But I was just like, oh, that's rad. You know, whoever gets to work with Eric, I think will be real lucky, because back when we all thought we were only going to be closed for like 2 weeks, Auburn was how do I say this? It was the #1 restaurant in LA that I had wanted to go to that I had yet to go to. And I'd followed them, and I thought the place looked so incredible.
For everybody
for
who
a lot
wanted
of people.
To go dine in LA.
That was the list in the bucket.
It was on a lot of people's lists, definitely. And I was like, oh, when we reopen in a couple weeks, I'll bring the managers up to Auburn for dinner. That'll be like a little celebratory. Like, all right, let's get back to it. Never had that chance.
Interesting.
So I heard Eric on this podcast. Like within a couple days, Andrew and I had that conversation, and then I reached out to a mutual friend just to kind of see if I could get in touch with Eric and just start talking about what he had planned next, and just kind of get to know each other and see if maybe if this came to pass, if there was an opportunity for us to work together. And so that's kind of what started there. And we had, I don't know, probably like a 2-hour phone call. And then I drove up to Santa Monica to meet up with him. And we had like another 2+ hour conversation. By the beach. It was very romantic. And,
fantastic.
And then
coffee.
Brought out a little campfire blanket.
Netflix doc someday. That's really good scene setting.
It was quite nice. But that's what we did kind of throughout the summers. We just kept talking and talking. And then we had like a lot of things in common, the way we approach restaurants and what we're trying to do for our teams.
How so specifically?
It's funny. I was having this conversation with someone recently, and they were asking about like what we first spoke about. And I was like, it's hard for me to remember specifics of what we talked about, but we talked a lot about our teams and about culture and hospitality and like trying to make sure that we take care of our teams as we're trying to take care of our guests. And just like a lot of stuff about that. And, you know, it just was obvious to me quickly that this guy was like super genuine about what he was talking about. And we just seemed to vibe in terms of like what we're trying to do with the work of restaurants. And so then Eric decided to move down here in September.
You brought our boy home.
Yep. Let's go.
So let's do it. I mean, in that point, I mean, obviously, you're ready for a next step, you know, and you need to move on, you know, but you don't know what holds. I mean, you're not really even sure if you know that he's a good operator. He's got a good name behind him. You know, I mean, you don't. You guys
That's
don't,
something.
That's something. You know.
I mean, reputation. We had mutual friends who worked with me directly on my PR team, who had worked with John directly on his PR team.
Okay.
So there's a bit of like confidence built in there.
Social proof.
Yeah.
It's like dating a little bit, right?
It is,
you
it
like
is.
ask around. You're like, do you know this person?
Yeah.
And he'd been down here too. Like he'd been to Jean before we talked, you know, so a little bit of context.
That's a pretty place to work too.
It is.
It is, for sure.
Damn pretty place. That's one of my favorites. Bells and Whistles does a good job.
Yeah, they're crushing.
I feel like it wasn't a hard decision. It was a long conversation. It was because it was a lot of like discovery philosophically, what were long-term plans and kind of just like approach. And then after the decision felt like it was not a difficult decision. You know what I mean? And I had my family. So I had my wife. We lived here together 20 years ago. And then my son, he had no clue. So he he loves it down here. When we could get a day away from Auburn, we were down at Moonlight Beach in Encinitas. You know, we were we would drive down, we'd hang out, and then we'd drive back late that night. That's when we stopped by Jean for dinner.
You know, must really like it because a lot of people in LA avoid that drive like the plague. Like they'll never come here, but they're like, that drive is hell. So I think that's the biggest proof that you were kind of made to be here.
There you go.
Truthfully. Yeah.
It was meant to be. How old was your son at the time?
He was, I don't know. My
9,
math.
I think
Yeah,
nine,
probably.
right?
It sounds about right. Maybe
Yeah.
8.
They're malleable here. It's like
I mean, he was playing soccer heavily. He it actually was really good because we knew there was a French American school here. He's like, he has passports in both. He's bilingual. So we knew that education would be really great for him. So those things I felt like really good about. It was also, Jean was an amazing restaurant. I mean, it had an amazing reputation.
Yeah.
Esquire's best new restaurant list. There was like Eater's best restaurants.
Yeah.
But for me, ultimately, it was
we
the
don't
approach.
say that word in here.
Sorry.
In San Diego Magazine.
I think he was talking about people who eat.
That's what it was.
who eat.
That's exactly.
What were you talking about?
All the people. Meaning there was like goodwill built up, and obviously it had substantiated like a reputation. But probably more importantly, was the fact of like our conversations, and I think the kind of snippets of how you think of Jean, when I explain Jean, it's always through the same thing now. And it's like a modern French bistro through the lens of our Southern California landscape. And I think to like figure that out and make it very concise, that's like kind of my love in cooking. My background is in French. I love California seasonality. And it was like, so this is like a perfect opportunity, great partner, great operator, really, a restaurant that was like supported by the community, beloved by the community, and like a strong team. I mean, you could see the build out, the playware, the products they were using, the way the menus were written, that there was that
attention to
support
detail.
And attention to detail.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and that's really, attention to detail is almost everything, and talking about your teams and actually taking care of the support system that's going to be executing all these ideas that you guys have. That COO, we were talking last episode about, she has a lot of houseplants at her house.
But who really takes care of them?
Who really takes care of them? Yeah, that's the team, the COO.
And I'm just like, look at all these plants I've got.
Yeah.
And I come up with the idea and the placement, and I pop in. But yeah, I hear everything you guys are talking about, and I'm like, man, imagine if like people got married the way that you guys thought about entering a business together, or it's just very intentional. And I just feel like everything is done differently in this day and age. So it's nice to hear a story that's just born.
It's usually
on
like
the beach,
you come
IRL.
on out.
Like, it's beautiful. That never happens anymore.
I mean, Dreamweaver playing a slow motion run
that's
from
it.
John Resnick.
It's very moving.
It was exactly like that.
Quick question: Did you cook? Did you make him cook for you? Did you bring a charcuterie board to the beach?
It's kind of funny because
usually you'll do tastings with chefs. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah.
I think when Eric and I started talking together, it was a very different kind of conversation, because it was not like I'm hiring a chef and you're looking for a job. Like, because you had asked Eric, and I need a job, but it's like he wasn't looking for a job, right?
Got it.
Like, it's really more of like thinking about just our futures and like, what are these futures going to look like? And do our futures make sense together, kind of thing?
Well, sure, because you could go back to any one of those chefs that you worked for forever and get a job. The jobs were...
jobs are jobs.
Jobs.
Yeah.
This,
I mean, so it's like at the time it was, okay, I do have a need at Jean because Andrew is leaving. And so I do need a chef. And I also want, in terms of, taking care of your team, it's like you want to make sure that like you're finding a way to continue to grow and evolve and do good things. And we really didn't want Jeune to be a restaurant where like our first year was our best year.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like you have to, and Andrew's a hard guy to replace.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so it was like, all right, but it was almost like Andrew leaving because he was such a rad chef and made such delicious food. It made it like my like duty to the restaurant and the team was made very clear, which is like, all right, I have to find a badass. Like there is no settling for something. But also for me, it was like a little bit more than Jeune, which was like, is this an opportunity to like to do something amazing at this restaurant right now, but also like our future. You know, we knew we wanted to do other things, and I wanted to find, you know, a partner. And that's kind of what Eric was looking for as well. So when he moved down, it was really more of like...
And he'd opened up his own restaurant. He knew operations where he knew all
for
the...
sure.
All the
and I mean, it's pretty obvious when you start talking to him, like how much Eric knows.
He got a business degree.
Yeah. He was also like, besides the chef, he was also basically like the acting GM at Guy Savoy in Singapore.
Right.
For a period of time. And so we just, you know, it was just obvious what he was bringing, but also like, that doesn't mean you're going to work really well together.
Sure.
You know, we hoped we would. So the idea was like, come down to Jeune. Let's hope we work well together. Let's see if we do. And then if we do, let's partner on a project. And so, like, you know, you asked about like Eric cooking. The funny thing is like, that literally didn't even occur to me. Like it literally
did
not.
Conclusion. You were
it did not occur to me.
Obviously, this is great.
Until like months later. Like when he was here and somebody asked me and I was like, oh no,
You're like, actually, no.
Actually never eaten his food.
That never came up. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think about it either. Because
yeah.
I feel like that's how we work. It's more like, what is the intention of what we're trying to do?
Right.
And then I feel like we feel good about each other's ability to work towards that intention.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Unless,
It's like
unless either one of you are the biggest bullshit artists in the
Yeah.
world.
Right.
You know, you arrived at this place. With
Sure.
these-
And if that was the case, I'm like, I can make that work too. I mean, like, come on.
Figure it out.
And we can keep
We've done
bullshitting.
more with less, right?
Yeah.
we can keep bullshitting. We'll have twice the bullshit power. All right. So, and then, I mean, really within like, I think it was probably within a year, you guys got your first Michelin, right? In the year?
Right
Am I
at
making that
the
up?
year.
Right at the year mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we
After
came
he-
at it, we were still in outdoor dining at the point that I joined. So we were doing 5-course menus that would change every 2 weeks.
Yep.
So I was working with the team on like, we would work on a new menu, we would launch it, we would like just keep rolling and trying to not repeat stuff. And so when we knew that we were kind of coming to an end, it was to figure out like, what does the transition going back inside look like?
Yeah.
What do we then do with the outdoor section? What does that look like? What do we want it to
And you guys
become?
were able to keep that outdoor section, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is.
That was, I mean, there's a couple, it's weird to talk about like COVID as having silver linings, but I can say for me, like personally, from a work perspective, there were a couple big silver linings from COVID for us. Eric was one of them. And then the outdoor patio at Jeune was the other. It was a 5 space parking lot before that. Like we really
Jeune was like it was before being kind of a Kate Moss of a restaurant.
It was a teeny tiny little place, 2,000
Yeah.
square feet, 70 seats.
Yeah.
And then we got so the whole restaurant, 2,000 square feet. The patio that we have now is about 1,400 square feet. So the restaurant, like, nearly doubled with
Which
its
is-
outdoor
That's
space.
incredible.
Great
Yeah,
for
it
you,
was
great for the
amazing.
neighborhood. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, for
win,
sure.
win.
Yeah,
it was just
the-
a parking lot before.
Yeah,
right?
and we have the giant transit parking lot right behind us anyway.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not sure if you're allowed to park in or not, but we
Whatever,
all do.
it's space.
Right? I mean, it's true. Like I can tell you this, about 10 years ago, that parking lot had a lot more free spaces than it does now because Carlsbad has continued to change and evolve so
Right,
much.
I know.
But yeah, the patio is incredible. And so like Eric said, we were doing something called Starry Night for a while,
Yeah.
which was just the
That
outdoor
was
tasting.
when I came down to
Yeah.
Nate there and wrote this. I mean, I got your food. I mean, obviously not just your food. I mean, it's your team. Who was your CDC? Your right hand?
Dushan.
It was
Who's at
Dushan.
Lilo now,
Who's
yeah.
at Lilo now? So
Yeah.
that's you and Dushan cooking together. And Dushan was there. Was Dushan there early on from June? Jeune, sorry.
Not in the very, very beginning.
I feel like it's a Guy Fieri thing. Yeah. If you say Fieri, you're in trouble. Like you had a dirty look. I said June
Yeah.
at Jolie.
I try to have, if we're together, I'd like Eric to pronounce this because I don't know if we said it earlier, but Eric's wife is French. And so that's why Eric speaks French. And so super helpful when
Resident
someone's asking for
French
the
person.
pronunciation.
Pronounce
Every
your-
restaurant
pronounce your own
operation,
restaurant.
Pronounce my-
every
yeah.
restaurant operation needs a resident French person.
Yeah, 100%.
So that was when I came down there though, and I did the Starry Night.
Yeah.
It was like it was just. I was through the moon. I had not
Yeah.
tasted food that good in a very, very, very long time.
Cool. That's
And
great.
not in San Diego,
we
sorry
were
to
coming
say
out
it,
of a
but-
pandemic. I was like, holy shit, this isn't pasta. But it was I mean, it was just it's exactly what you're talking about. It was fresh. It
was a revelation.
All highly seasonality, but you could tell that you were picking the right produce flavors too. It was just kind of acidic and bright and everything else, and then
Great.
it was. I think the article that I wrote was, he's on a different fucking planet right now. It was
amazing.
insane.
Yeah.
We appreciated that headline, by the way. That was quite nice.
It was one of the. I mean, I've
Instagram.
eaten a lot for over 16 years of doing this job, and there's been a few meals that mark my time, and that was definitely one of them. It was one of those like, oh, holy shit, this is a whole new thing. I mean, so anyways, then you guys get bigger dreams, and you decide to take on the building across the street.
Yes. Yeah. So it's funny, Eric. Like I said, he moved down here in September.
Yeah.
And we said, oh, hopefully we work well together. Well, the space that is now Wildland and Lilo, we walked it in October. So it was a month later that we started talking about this project. So pretty quickly I think we worked well together.
Wow, you guys just went straight to Vegas.
We went straight to Vegas,
got
Let's
married,
go.
U-Haul, everything else.
Yeah.
Commit.
That's when we
100%.
first looked at it. It took us like a while to commit to that space.
Okay.
I mean, it's like almost a 10,000 square foot building.
Massive.
We were just talking about the size of Jean. I remember very clearly after Jean opened, I was saying to our team, this is the right size for restaurants moving forward, about 2,000 square feet.
I don't want anything bigger
I don't want anything bigger than this.
And if you know Wildland,
this
that's
is
open
it.
now.
I've
It's
decided this.
Yeah. Because camp's about 6,000.
Be careful what you decide is good, because
Man.
the next day.
Yeah.
Wow, even campfires, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's putting it all in perspective for me.
But Wildland, where it is now in Lilo, the building is this rad, huge, old boogie board factory, and
It was an old boogie board factory?
Yeah, that was the old Maury boogie boards.
That was Maury?
Yeah,
No shit.
so rad. Yeah,
Doesn't get more San Diego than that, actually.
yeah. Our first week opened, we had a guy came in. I was chatting with, and he had worked there, 50 years ago, and he pointed at where our bakery is now, and he's like, "That's where I used to make hang gliders." And
No
I made fiberglass
way.
hang gliders over in the corner
That
of the
they would
boogie board
fly off the
factory.
cliffs at
yeah,
Blacks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just this is so cool. So he sent me a bunch of old black and white photos of
my
the space.
God,
It's really
cool.
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's nice to be in a place that has a little history,
Yeah.
before you.
Yep. So you took on this big project, and then you gutted the entire thing. And
Well, I mean, that's the only thing that was kind of good about it is there wasn't much to gut.
Okay,
It was
yeah.
just an empty
Just
space.
bones.
Right, right.
We had to rip the roof off because that wasn't much of a roof. But
Yeah.
ended up rebuilding this entire building over many years.
So and you signed that lease in 2021.
Yeah. 21. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you opened in 2021 plus?
Yeah, something like that.
One of those years.
We thought, okay, this is a big project. We're going to be doing 2 restaurants, so it's going to take some time. It's let's plan 18 months. That should be plenty. And so we thought, July of 2023.
Because your other restaurants have taken about 12.
They took 12 months. Camp and Jean both 12 months from basically signing the lease to opening the doors.
That makes sense. I can see the math on that. You're like, okay, we're doing them both at the same time. We're going to cross-utilize a few different things. So maybe it wouldn't be 2 years. It'll probably be 1 and
But
a
I'm
half.
hearing 21. I'm thinking timber supply chain. I'm thinking I'm thinking all these things going off in
Container
my brain.
ships stuck somewhere in
It was
Narnia.
That must have been the
Yeah.
Suez year, right? With
It was terrible timing in that regard especially because I think when we signed the lease, that was still when everybody needed to work.
Yes.
All the construction trades, if you needed something, they were
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. This is going to be a good
Yes.
time.
We have a
to do
surplus
these
of
things.
people helping us
But
with this.
then, no.
No.
That changed real quick. Everybody had way too many jobs. And
Yeah.
every single thing that you needed to buy was ridiculously expensive and super slow to get.
Yep.
So-
Mabel's Gone Fishing got caught in the same trap.
Yeah.
That's why it took her 2 years to open finally, because she got caught right in that when just construction availability and materials evaporated. So same
Right.
idea.
Yeah.
Well, and in the restaurant world too, of course, that's no problem because you're just like tech, and you have billions of dollars behind you, of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
You guys are just swimming it. You're like
just
Scrooge
like that.
McDuck in the vault
Yeah.
with the coins, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
You're just scraping as restaurateurs, even as restaurateurs that have been as successful as Jean and Campfire has. You have investors, and I don't know if you have investors. I'm not speaking to your EBITDA, but I mean, it's harder to get money. I mean, most restaurateurs cannot go down to a bank and be like, got an idea. And they're like,
Yeah.
great, take it somewhere else.
Well, especially if you
But
don't.
Troy
if you
Johnson
don't,
loves it.
If you don't own the building, that's definitely true, and we don't. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's partially real
so
estate.
Yeah.
So everything's taken. One of the interesting things that we talked about, we did a story that's coming out in San Diego Magazine. And we kind of preface this podcast was that a lot of the laborers, a lot of the contractors, are not in North County.
Oh yeah, no.
So a lot of the contractors are down near city center.
Yep.
And where if you're going to take jobs, where do you want to take a job?
Yeah, and like what ends up
Close to
happening
home.
is like all these guys, these trades, they take obviously multiple jobs at once, and so if some of those job sites are close together, well, they can do a few different things in a day. To come up to do work on our project is like that's their whole day. It's driving time, coming back.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there were a
You're at the
lot,
bottom of the ladder.
but if really in a dramatic way. And so you're told this is how many people are going to be here today. What's getting done? You show up and there's one person, 0 people, and that's not a lot of people for a 10,000 square foot building.
Yep.
So
And the day after the day or the week after you sign, you lose the construction lead.
no, it actually wasn't. That might have been better than actually how it
Oh, it was
worked.
worse. Great. Okay.
So our the project manager from the construction team, who I'd known at that point for I don't know 15 years or something, and he had walked the space with me before, from like the first time that we went to check it out. Knows the project very intimately. Like he is the keeper of all of the knowledge. So that's what I mean by it being worse is. Besides construction delays, we also had delays with the city and permitting, and there were all sorts of new things that came up between when Jeune opened in 2018 and this. There was a new master plan in Carlsbad Village, and so there were new hurdles that I was super ignorant of, and of course Eric didn't know. Like he hadn't done a project in Carlsbad before, and so we kind of learned as we went, and that added about 9 months. Just for the permitting game.
Specifically, what you're talking about, you were in Baja.
Yeah.
You got an email.
I was mentioning this to you earlier. Yeah. So, the way this works, right, is like you submit your set of plans to the city. They spend about a month looking at them. They give you corrections, things you need to then address. You then take another month or so to make all those corrections. You resubmit. Then it's a process of doing that. And hopefully, it only takes 2 or 3 times of that.
Yep.
On the first set of corrections they sent us, one thing that they had noted is that we needed to complete a minor site development plan. A minor site development plan.
Keyword.
Yeah, I thought that was the keyword. And yeah, I was mentioning I was down in Valle with my family when we got those corrections, and I opened the email. I'm looking at them, and I see that. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, minor site development plan. I don't know what that is, but
bad could it be?
How bad can it be? Why would they put minor in the word? And and that was a very big deal that none of us knew what that was, and so it was also a learning process as we were going, and that one thing added 9 months to the process.
At full gestation.
Yeah, just straight up a 9-month delay from that
I had
one
a
thing.
human baby.
Yeah,
God. I mean, in this, so I mean, it's getting
What was the major?
I don't even know.
Jeez.
I don't know if they have one. I think they're just like fucking with you.
They
saying
just
it's minor.
wink.
Yeah,
There's a little smiley face emoji after that little minor asterisk.
So yeah.
So it takes forever, and you guys, at any point, did you think about, I mean, look, 2021, and you thought you were going to get open in 2023?
Yeah. Well, that was part of it, right? So because you were asking about this project manager. And so when we got that minor cell development, we going through this whole thing. Finally, we get to the end of that, and then we can start construction in earnest.
Yep.
And then about a week later, our project manager announced that he was leaving the company.
Oh, jeez.
And
I mean, at that point, you have to be going, is this thing cursed?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's kind of funny. When I used to work for CH with our salon, and when I left to do Campfire, he gave me this little felt pennant that's in my office, and it's just very simple. It just says, figure it out. I think that was his way of giving me some advice for me doing my own thing. And it's actually really good advice. And so all this stuff, we were just like, okay, so we
Figure
figure
it
it out. And just like that was the only thing. And there's just a lot of different things where it was like
We just didn't
had
know
to figure
how
this
many
out.
things we were gonna have to figure
Although
out.
honestly, also, we talked earlier about Eric and I and our relationship, and like it was very nice in those moments to not be by myself, or for him to be by himself. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we could at least commiserate together and then figure it out.
Yeah.
And figure it out together.
Sure, and figure it out together.
Bounce off ideas.
Yeah.
That's part of figuring
Like, how
it
are we
out.
going to do this? Yeah.
Emotional support,
Yeah.
and resources too. I mean, you've gathered people that you can call, those kinds of times. Like whether it be a construction manager you worked with in the past, or whether it be somebody who dealt with the city, a restaurateur who dealt with the city,
Sure. Or Barbara and Jason at Bells and Whistles, or the architect who needed to VE something, or I mean, it was
and then almost right before you guys opened up, and I want to talk about this because it was very public at the time. You lost a core team member too, right?
Yeah. Basically, let's see if my timing here is right. Yeah. I mean, so Wildland opens up in December of last year, so of 24. And our game plan at first was that Lilo would open 2 months later, but ended up being a little bit farther than that. And as we were like preparing for the opening, we have our team hired. Yeah, we had two unfortunate things happen in our community. One was that Matt, who's our director of operations and is like core to our operations and what we do, and has been with us since the beginning, since Campfire opened. He had a health scare, ended up being in the hospital for a while. He's totally okay now. But that happened right when we were starting training, and he's kind of one of the people who was like leading training with our team, and he's like really core to what we do. And so he was out of commission for a few weeks, and then had to come back like slowly, but he's all good now. And unfortunately, something else happened, which is our former pastry chef at Jeune, our friend Gianna, passed away in this like tragic accident in Hawaii. And it was brutal.
I remember the way that you guys were talking about it just on social media. I mean, this is somebody that, again, like people can say family, but when you work with somebody, especially in a restaurant environment, which is, really, it's an emotional space because people want to be, you're in charge of making people feel at home and special and, and everything else. And there's so much like busy hand-to-hand work and you're such on top of one another, but when you guys talked about it and you guys posted about it, genuinely, it was a family member that you guys had lost.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. We really think of it as like community, know, and that word gets thrown around a lot, community, but like that is what we think about is like we have a community. Like in each restaurant, and because all of our restaurants are on one street, like we were able to build this little community here. And then we think about the community of folks who come in every night to spend time with us. But it's a community that we choose to be a part of. And Gianna did. And she was an incredible person to work with. Everybody on our team loved her. And so, I say that only because this is a weird personal thing, but it's like, we kind of feel like family is family and our community is our community.
Yeah. There's a distinction.
There's a distinction. And like,
I actually really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think it's a really healthy boundary, and it kind of sets where your work and professional life is, which can be intimate and it can be so fulfilling and it can be such a part of your identity. And then also you have your family, which is your family. I actually think that's a really healthy way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I bring that up only in the context of this particular conversation because it's like Gianna's actual family, right? Like, who we are just incredible people, and obviously speaking to them throughout these moments. And there were a lot of people on our team who were continuing to be there for them and talk to them, and we don't compare to that, obviously, But it was a very painful moment for all the people on our team and our community. Obviously, still is. But also, just like it was something that we had to try to navigate. We have our Jeune team where Gianna worked, who was really, really hurting. But at our Lilo team, we had a fair amount of folks who came from Jeune as well. And it's like right when training is beginning, and we're supposed to be there to like motivate people and inspire people in the beginning and get people fired up about what we're going to be creating. And it was just like
And it's
hard to know what the right thing was to do.
But
you
it's
know?
so hard because your goal and your job at that moment is get everybody, include this huge organism, excited and celebratory and everything else. Just like me bringing it up right now in this room brought us down a little bit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Well, it's like theater too. Like going to a restaurant, it's an experience. You're not just going there to have good food. Like it is inherently people work, and so I think that it just exemplifies like how deep that goes. That it affects the whole organism. And I don't know that most people, especially if you haven't indulged in fine dining, like think of restaurants that way. Like they think like there's servers and there's a kitchen staff and everyone works together, and I go home, and I don't know if they realize like quite the level of organism that exists behind those doors at these really high caliber restaurants. And I think like something happening like that can shake the whole spine of the organization. Just shows what deep people work it really is, honestly. Right?
Yeah, I think that's definitely super true. And this, I don't even know how to articulate this really, but it's like you want to be there in it when you're in a community. You're there for good times, like for joy. We believe we're in the business of joy, of like trying to create joyful moments for people and meaningful work for our team and all sorts of stuff. And what a lot of us found ourselves kind of talking about, then, and honestly, we kind of talk about this stuff all the time a little bit, is just like, what does meaning mean to us? And like, what does time well spent look like for us? And however long we're going to be together. And I think a lot of us were comforted is not the right way to say it. But we knew that Gianna loved working with that community.
This was a positive force.
Yeah. And it was like, and she made great relationships and friendships with the folks on her team. Yeah. And it was kind of like, we need to celebrate that, in a way. And, and again, when you're around people, this is people work, like you were saying, Jack. And it's like, you need to, you're going to go through shitty times when you're around people that you care about, and it's just like, I don't know, you can take some, you want to, I don't know, you take comfort in working around people that you know you can lean on when shit is hard, and that like that this matters.
Yeah,
the relationships matter.
Being able to tap into that and then bring that like soul of the organism out to the floor and out to your guests. I mean, that's probably why you guys got Michelin recognition again after 7 minutes of being open, right? Like that's sort of where that comes into the outside, and you bring that to your guests.
Well, and I think honestly, there's something about, like we talked about the experience of Lilo, because you open up something like a Lilo, and I'll explain this to our guests who haven't been there yet. It's 22 seats. It is, you walk into this little curved, beautiful, patio experience, a tree in the middle and this gorgeous wood, and it's a phenomenal transportation from the outside world.
It gives Sea Ranch in the best way. I mean that in a very good way.
I can see that.
Do you know what I mean? I mean that very complimentary.
That's awesome.
So and 22 seats. So you open something like this, a chef counter. I mean, it's showing off what you guys, the best of what you guys can do. And it's a tasting menu only experience. And you want it to feel. You've said you want it to feel authentic. You want it to feel fun. You want it to feel fucking pretentious. You want this to feel like somebody can fucking laugh. Fucking be yourself.
Sure.
Yes, this is the best thing that we can. That we're giving every note that we've taken along our careers and putting it into this tiny little experience. But I think there's part of that makes it better when you guys, more resonant, when you've actually been through some hard stuff together too. I think, it's not just like, hey, joy, everybody put on your flair. Yeah. No, this community has been through ups, downs, everything else, and we're still here for dinner. Yeah. We're still here for having a great time.
And we've only been open however many months.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty magical. That's magical. Again, that just means that there's a lot of heart flowing through the organization.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it, I think, is like, we're trying to do something, like you guys said, that is like, that we're really into. And like, with people that have like a shared like purpose of coming together and doing work that like we are stoked on. It's kind of like you need to be like the biggest fans of the restaurant that you work at for it to make any sense. Because this is hard work. you know, and
For sure.
have
When
to
we
love
took
it.
over San Diego Magazine, I remember coming in here and being like, I need to know that that page actually returns value on those people. I get that. I know that whoever partners with me actually is going to get value that they spent their hard-earned money on, you know? And it's the same thing. You got to believe in it, be a big fan of it. And if you can't be a big fan of it, then you're like, you got to go find something else.
Yeah,
For sure.
You know, you got to kill the magazine and just do digital and print and video,
Right.
you know, whatever it may be, you know, but you definitely have to be its fan and believe in it for sure. I want to shift gears to the ice cream that started it all. I look back to the food. So you, Dushan, if you would mention, like, there's everybody. You guys have the bakery, which we have this massive spread here on the table. This is from Wildland. This is from your head baker. You have a pastry chef as well that probably coordinated on a lot of this.
Cookie's gone. You didn't get to try it. I'm sorry.
You fucking killed my cookie.
You got beignets over there, though.
I got
You
beignets.
donuts.
2 left.
So
Got one of those.
Wildland is the gluten center for you, which is really important.
It is super important. Super
The
important.
nucleus.
The nucleus.
Nucleus.
Yeah. That's the starter of everything. But explain to me, like, how the people that are involved. Hey, give me a little roster.
Okay,
because
so
that's
like the
important.
main crew that's in Lilo every day, Dushan is our chef de cuisine. So like you mentioned before, Dushan and I worked together at Jeune way back in the day, right when I came down. He went back to Europe. We brought him back just for this opening.
Nice.
Okay.
So he's omnipresent in
I would
this
have liked to have
restaurant.
heard that
start to finish.
conversation.
So
You're
he
like,
was
so, do you want to come
there
back?
when I had the meal of my life.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. For sure.
Got it.
We have Madeline, who's our pastry chef.
Yep.
So phenomenal background, super hungry, driven, very present, and create some delicious food as well. Rachel, who's our GM, she was at Jeune before. She was our GM at Jeune, so she came over. Well, part of this is that like more than half the staff worked with us some other place, right? So they knew culture, they knew the language, they knew the dynamic, and kind of knew the expectations.
And
so
you knew what you were getting. You work with people you like.
yeah, for sure.
That wagon of people that you didn't want us to disappoint over. You probably brought a couple with you too, right? The people that you had.
From LA.
Yeah.
No, there's no one on the team from LA. I mean,
Okay.
no, there's not actually.
I'll just give a quick moment of props to Eric, though, because he didn't say this, but like what he was trying to do with the team from Auburn was also to make sure they landed somewhere. And so when people were reopening, he was in touch with a lot of chefs around the country trying to help connect people.
Placing.
For
You
some of the
became a
folks they
staffing
work with.
agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
like-
basically, or at least starting conversations
Yeah.
and then seeing if it's a good fit for them, you know?
Yeah.
and when he mentioned
for
that
sure.
to me, like pretty early on, we were talking, and I love that because
No.
it had nothing to do with him anymore.
Right.
Like,
You
know.
take care of your people.
I mean, I still
They
feel
became
like
your people.
we're still doing that now. Like
Well,
I
it's
have good
important.
friends who used to work for me there, and it's like introductions or brain picking conversations about things, ways they could have been, or just like information sharing. So
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if we're here, we have this knowledge, we have this experience, then we need to share it with the people we trust, and hopefully that helps them. They're going to make their own decisions, but I can
Oh, it
just
sounds
give
like a
them some
community. I don't know.
information. So we have Rachel, she's our GM. We have Savannah, who's our wine director.
By the way, going to Lilo and
Yeah.
this woman impressed me so damn much, and she's a friend of an old friend of mine, Ted Glennon, who was he was a wine director over at the Hotel Del. I met him at a punk club called the Tower Bar in San Diego years ago, and they switched into wine, and then he became a vintner. And he told me, he's like, my girl Savannah is there, and she was just one of my favorite people that I met. Explained wine in a really unpretentious but super
She's so
educated
good.
way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I worked with her at her first wine pouring job at Vino Carta
Wow.
here in Little Italy when she was just a
Awesome.
little baby wine pourer, and she
Right.
crushed it then. Like, she was the star of the shop. She
Yeah.
liked talking to everyone. She knew everything about everything, was a very serious student of it. And I think from there she went to Post Ranch and yada, yada, yada. Here we are.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
a
And
rock
then into
star.
San Francisco and around.
Yeah.
And so she left here to then go work for some incredible programs, and then came back for Lilo specifically and to kind of create the list and help work with the team.
So a
It's-
lot of the talents came back for this.
I
lot
was
of the
stoked
talents
to
came
see
back,
her come
yeah.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was like, this is going to be obviously the name power behind it. But then just seeing all these people trickle back in, it was like, ooh.
yeah.
Again, back to the community thing. It's like this is like a real thing. It's happening.
Yeah, it's a
very
small
San Diego.
team, but a powerful team.
Yeah.
And then we got Andrew, aka Coco, who's our bar director. So he does all like the cocktails, NA stuff. That's kind of like the main structure. There's probably 17 cooks, more or less. There's about 9 service team members, maybe 8. So small, everyone's there. It's 5 nights a week. So like the team is present at all times.
And by the way, just to check the math on that, we have 22 seats and around, I don't know, 28 people on our team. So it's more than a
It's more staff members.
more.
than,
Yeah,
a lot of
more than
service.
one-to-one. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're there.
Yeah, and so it's a tasting menu only.
And
You do-
nobody's standing around.
Yeah,
so
No
they're
one.
all running.
No.
Yeah.
He just defended all of them.
Yeah.
He's
It's
like,
Like,
No, that's true for sure.
it's like that budget
I
line
feel like
is
that
tight.
creates this image of like just people like sitting there waiting to fill your water.
Troy's like, I'm
Yeah.
a business
They're
owner,
like-
heard that.
I know. I know.
Because well, I mean, like you were just saying, it's 22 seats, but we do kind of basically 2 seatings a night, so around 40 guests a night, and it's a 10 to 12 course menu.
Yep.
Around like 16 bites. There's pairings. I mean, it's a lot happening, and also like that's the kind of restaurant that we wanted it to be, which was like energetic and like vibrant, and so it's not this like super quiet little temple of food. It's like we're taking everything like real seriously, but also like trying to have a hell of a lot of fun while we're doing it, because a restaurant like that really is a celebratory restaurant.
Yeah.
Most guests, like the vast majority, are there celebrating something,
Yeah.
birthday, anniversary, or whatever it is. And so when people are out,
It's a big night out.
it's a big night out, and if you're there to celebrate, you want to feel celebrated.
Yes, there should be a
Yeah.
vibe. It's like an austere yakitori.
There's a reason why I
vibe,
don't
if
go
that
to.
makes sense.
I don't go
Yeah.
to a monastery to celebrate my big wins.
Yeah,
You know,
that's fair.
I don't. I have.
Troy's a big monastery guy. I don't know. if you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
know.
I'm not going to go Gregorian chant somewhere. I'm
Yeah.
just not. You walk in, you get the reel-to-reel in Lilo
Yeah.
that's playing. Give me some examples. You told me.
But
Some.
Yeah,
a lot
well-
of fine dining spots feel that way. It feels like you're going
yeah.
to church. It feels like, oh my God, it's so austere. You don't even want to sneeze. You don't want to look up. You're afraid to interact with the staff sometimes. I mean, when I was more on the fine dining beat, like pre-COVID, I went to a bunch of them in Europe, all over the States, and in Mexico. And every country has its fine dining culture a little bit different. And there are specific things about it that distinguish it. But one of the main differences is like whether your dining room is a vibe or whether or not you're afraid to be there. And those are two like very polar experiences.
And I feel like a lot of Europe is a lot like that. I mean, some of their best restaurants are way more casual and way more
Yeah.
come as you are than
Yes.
than American. Americans like we have
Yes.
this idea, at least for a long time. I think it's changing now, but it was for a
Spain
long
very
time.
much
It's
is
like
like
you
that,
have
yeah.
to be very formal. You have to be this, and it's
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're going to be taken seriously by the Michelins, by everything else.
Well, that's an interesting thing there at the end too, because I think the other thing you want besides like feeling celebrated is you also want to go somewhere that feels like there's a sense of place.
Yes.
And like we are in Carlsbad. It's a beach town. We're 2 blocks from the ocean, Southern California. Like we don't want this to be like, oh, I feel like I'm in New York City. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I love New York, but like we want you to feel like you're I guess we want like 2 things at once. One, to feel like this belongs here, and to feel like I'm kind of transported. I don't know where. You know what I mean?
Well,
But it's great
you're here, but
indoor,
you're
outdoor
elevating.
space. You
Yeah.
got floor to ceiling windows in between that courtyard. You got that curved wood. You got that tree in the middle.
Yeah.
It feels like there should be Whithoff in the corner doing some ice baths.
Working on it.
But like with a little caviar.
Yeah.
But it's giving us a special experience that maybe we always deserved here, but didn't exactly have. Which doesn't mean that it shouldn't have been here or it doesn't belong. It just means that somebody hadn't tapped into it yet.
Yeah.
So I think we always deserve that special space. And like so often you do hear like big like fancy restaurants opening and people who are going for big titles and Michelins and that, and they go, well, we do want to emulate New York. We do want to emulate Paris. And like that's great. I am from New York. I love New York. But I'm here, and I would really like to feel like I'm here and I'm enjoying sort of the bounty of what's around me. And that's why you
absolutely,
pay for
yeah.
those meals. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like a mix between like Jeune and Le Pigeon in Portland. In Portland, like it's basically like that little bar, just like
Right.
I mean, it's a little cooking area right around like 20, 30 seats or something like that. And they're playing like heavy metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're playing heavy metal hip hop. I mean, they're just cranking out some of the most delicious food in Portland.
It need not be precious. It just has to be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
And that's like, just talking about like music, because that can do a lot to like set the tone. And well, there's a lot of things that can, but yeah. So we were mentioning like we have the reel to reel. We also play vinyl, so we're playing whatever, like a lot of different things. But anything from like, I don't know, the Gorillaz or Jurassic 5. We were talking about J5 before, and
Jurassic 5
Nina
was-
Simone, like whatever,
Yeah.
like lots of different things. But it's
Charlie
like,
Tuna was on my little TV show in San Diego called
Really?
Fox Rocks. Yeah.
Oh,
it was like Charlie
amazing.
Tuna, Maroon 5's first ever television
Yeah.
performance, but Charlie Tuna came on. He's got that voice like
Yeah,
this. He's got
so good.
And it's just like that in
Yeah.
person, man. Anyways, that was a little bit of an aside. And so when you go into this place too, and I'm going to kind of speak for you guys here, and I forget how many points of service there is, but there's like 400 or 200 points of service that you guys have kind of designed for, like how in case something happens in this special 2 hours that we're trying to build for these people, this is exactly how you handle it. This is how you should open the door. This is how many feet you should probably stay, where you should probably land. It's blocking just like theater, you know.
Yeah.
And what I loved about talking to you about this earlier was that you said the reason why we tell people that is because so they don't have to think about it.
Yep.
Get it ingrained, because I don't want you thinking about that when you're, when you're just should be communicating and bonding with a guest, right?
I mean, it sounds oppressive if you think about it, the basic way you explain it, but it's essentially liberating, because if you can give people the answers and you can train at it and you get good at it, then you're not thinking about it. Like you're saying, it becomes second nature. And so then it's about the experience, the communication, the eye contact, the welcoming nature, the questions,
It's just like human existence. If I had to think about how I was driving home, if I had to think about where does my hand go on this wheel? Which turn do I make next? How far do I turn the wheel? How much will it turn? If I had to think about all that, I would never be able to talk to anybody.
Think of how many times you've gotten home and you're like, woo. Like I was listening to a podcast or on the phone or that was muscle memory. It should service should be like
service
that.
should be that.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. So we do have literally hundreds of details of these steps of service, and it is intense if you look at it on paper. But the thing about all SOPs, right, like standard operating procedures with all these things, is the why. Like, why do we do this? And that's why people can remember them. It's like, this is what we do, and then you can see why. And that's why so when you are doing these things, they have an impact. And a lot of times it does allow you to build up that muscle memory so you can connect with the guests and be present. But it also stops crappy things from happening, which also throw you out of the moment because you need to
then
fix
you're
them.
stressed.
Oh, this thing's in the wrong spot, or I just was in this person's way, or my back's to this person.
Eric or John looking at me right now because I messed that up.
You're helping out future you.
Yeah.
And that's also community work too.
Yeah.
Looking out for everybody else's station,
so it is a
situation.
And the guest, I mean, honestly, it's like if the guest is going to, because what you want to have happen is guests, I mean, this is obvious, right? But you don't want them to notice almost anything. They're just like, why is this so awesome? This feels amazing. That's true in all. It's true in all the restaurants, right? It's what everybody's always trying to do. Is just like
there's been 400 engineered things that are kind of working together right now to create a thing that feels like one thing,
right?
Just a damn night out. A really nice night out. I want to finalize this. We're getting long, so I'm getting my producer over there. Is like, hey, you better fucking stop.
Let's go. Rapid fire round.
That ice cream.
No. Okay.
Ice cream. This dish. Holy shit! And I remember it comes in the middle of the meal. There's 10, 12 courses. For Lilo, and they're all equally great in their own ways. But this dish comes out, and it looks like a little quenelle of ice cream, with caviar on top, which makes sense. And you think about it, you're like, oh, ice cream and fish eggs, that sounds disgusting. But if you think about it, also
sour cream.
It's sour cream, right? Yeah. It's creme fraiche and caviar, which is a classic combination. It's just got a little bit of sweetness in it too. And I'm reducing this dish to its just basal charms because there's so much more that goes into it. I definitely want you to explain it right now. But this was the dish, and it is one of the best things that I've ever put in my mouth. That's cool. It is so good. And I said, what is that thing? And it didn't surprise me that your answer was, that was the dish that started everything that we were talking about with Lilo's menu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we knew kind of what we were trying to achieve. Like, what is the reference point? Should be Southern California. It's definitely coastal driven. It is, vibrant and acidic and alive, and lots of a la minute cookery. That dish specifically, I mean, in the sequencing, we don't want people to get bored. It is 10, 12 courses, 16, 17 bites. It's a 2.5 to 3 hour experience, but like boredom should never be there. So like part of starting in the garden and then coming inside is like getting the blood moving again, moving around, discovering a new space. The ice cream course was the first dish, but it was not an intentional like let's start menu R&D. This happened at Jeanne one night during service. We had orgeat ice cream on a dish that we were currently serving on the menu. Dushan had joined us. He was like back full time at that point, so he was helping me. I basically torn out during service, kind of running around. So we were kind of working side by side, and for whatever reason, my brain was just mulling through caviar pairings, and so I saw that. I thought about it. to me, like almonds and caviar make a lot of sense. So caviar
Yeah.
and nuts, for like super classic.
Sure.
Like you mentioned, sour cream, creme fraiche, anything kind of milky works really well. It's a great foil for caviar. And so it was like, all right, nuts, candied nuts. It's sweet. It's also like recognizable from like dragée for me, for like when it's like a French little a little candy, you know?
Yep.
So it had a connotation there. But then also was like, okay, these are kind of what we were, it seemed to make sense. So I just put a quenelle on an ice cube that we'd serve for a cocktail. I threw a big knob of caviar on top. And then we had white truffles during the season. So I was like shaving a bunch of white truffles and put it on top, took a bite, and it was like instantly sweet and salty and umami and complex. And like,
what you want.
like this weird mixture, but it was like neither a pastry nor a savory course.
Yep.
And so I immediately had Duchamp taste, and was like, to me, it was just brought a smile to my face. I probably have, my hair is probably standing up at this point, just because it's like, it became in essence of like, I think this is like indicative of what we're trying to do. It's familiar enough to not alienate people. It's surprising enough to like engage and delight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's freaking delicious. So it's like all of those things working together. That dish, I mean, when we opened, we didn't have white truffle. We were like, well, how do we replace that, or how do we make it a better dish? And so a couple ways we want to do that was adding the almond the almond oil. So we press almond oil every day.
They press their own oil every day.
And
So-
honestly, like, don't tell people that they're gonna like break in
Yeah.
and steal it. Like,
So it's incredibly intense. So you have candied almond, slightly sweet. Then you have fresh, like roasted, super complex, delicious almond oil. And then we needed this kind of salty, earthy component. And so one technique that I was using previously with Auburn was taking things and kind of treating it like katsuoboshi, which is Japanese, dried and smoked fish, or bonito tuna. And so we did this with a couple different things. We did it with daikon, which is what I was doing. We did it with celery roots and pumpkin. And the celery root just kind of stuck. And so what we do is we cure it with brown sugar, salt, tamari for like 3 days. And let it marinate, it slightly ferments, it draws out some moisture, changes the texture, and then we'll smoke it for another 2 days to try and get like intense smokiness to it. And then we'll dehydrate it until it's like a brick, no more hydration at all. And that takes anywhere from like a week to 2 weeks, depending on how big the piece is. And so that was this last minute like shaving on top. So you're getting these like brown sugar, but also umami, like depth, slightly fermented notes. And,
And that that vegetal kind of
the vegetal world, it sneaks in. And so that was the dish. And when we tasted it, we're like, okay, this is it. And then it was, well, where does it go? And the first idea was, okay, it's probably the first dessert. But then it felt too safe and like, too expected. And I think back to what I was saying in the beginning, where we want to keep people engaged and moving around in a 3-hour experience, it was like, well, I think after like the third seafood course, when they come inside, it would be nice to have a reset. So this is not a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
This is like a re-engaging course.
This is a palate obliterator.
It's a palate obliterator. It's like a palate, like, I don't know.
it's like maybe you thought
It's
we were
not
done.
obliterating. It's like, it's energizing. You know what I mean?
I know
It's like,
it isn't obliterating.
It's
That's
like,
right.
It's like slap me in the face.
But honestly,
okay, let's
it's,
go.
but it is so delicious. But I really do think that was smart, because like if it was with dessert or the first dessert, you would love it. I really do believe, because it's so good.
yeah.
But when it comes, when you're not expecting it, it's just like it puts a smile on your face before you even eat
I
it.
want things
You know what I mean?
unexpected, for sure. I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
feel a comfortable room that is unexpected. That
Right.
way
Yeah.
you curve that wood, the way that I'm in a parking lot, and all of a sudden I walk around a corner, I'm like, oh, holy shit, where
Yeah.
am I? That's what that's your experience of Lilo. And you're right, because even when I came for friends and family, you asked for as many feedbacks as possible. I was like, I think you should move that to the dessert course.
Right.
I was wrong. You're right.
well,
And that's,
I like it where it is. I mean, I appreciate the feedback, but I think that it is that point. You still
you're
have
right.
two
Yeah.
more savory
Yeah.
courses to go, and then we're hitting 2 dessert courses, and then you have 3 more mignardises after. And
Yeah.
it's, to me, it's kind of, again, that perfect re-engagement, resetting. I don't think anyone's bored at that point anyway, but it just like, it's an exclamation point in the experience.
Well, that's the transport. Before we were saying like you want to be rooted there, but also transported. That's the transport. It's more of like a mental, experiential thing, and then everything else is very much rooted physically in where it is.
Right.
It's a trip.
So
Literally.
then if that's like the first dish, then it's like each course has to have its own place. There's really no redundancy. Each one needs to, have its merits and its like intensity and unique flavor combination. So
and you knew like, so Yes, I swear to God, I'm ending this podcast.
She's crying. Our producer is actually crying.
No,
right
she's
now.
the sweetest
Just
woman in
kidding.
the world. She's like, you do
She's
whatever
gonna
you
have
want.
to edit it down to 14.
She wants to cry.
So she,
we can keep talking after the mic's cut.
okay,
So,
that sounds good.
Yap forever.
But the one thing I'll just kind of add in a couple of details. I mean, you knew a lot of the makers. I mean, you knew the people that did the plates, the glasses. I mean, Bells and Whistles did this place as well. The design on it, it's absolutely beautiful. Congratulations. How redemptive does it feel? That's the last question. I mean, it's got to feel redemptive for you guys both. I mean, obviously, you opened up your dream restaurant and due to life circumstances and the world fucking collapsing, and maybe more than that, whatever it was, it didn't work out, and that can feel like a dark time, and 4 years later, 5 years later, 5 going on, you now are the proud co-partner of a couple Michelin stars, 3 different restaurants. And basically you guys both kind of own a really nice part of a city block and a great part of San Diego.
and I'll say it's 4 restaurants now because you've got Camp,
you're
Campfire, Jeune, Wildland, and Lilo, which is insane because it's...
I know. It's and for you, I mean, 4 years on a project. I mean, every single turn, something went wrong.
Yeah.
It's got to feel pretty damn good, doesn't it?
It feels good. Redemption. It is redemptive. It's also like every day we wake up and it's a new start. Part of the thing, the business is you are trying to create the same the same intensity, the same pleasure every day, and you're starting with different ingredients and different things, and so it's cool. We don't rest on that laurel very often.
There's a lot of anxiety
Well,
here.
no, what I was
but
just
good
going to say is,
anxiety,
and
right?
I don't say this to sound like that noble or anything, because that's not what I'm trying to say at all. I feel like Eric and our brains are wired in a certain way. Maybe they're miswired. I don't really know. We really don't think of the past that much. We really think of today and what are we doing next. Yeah. And so the thing of the redemption thing's interesting. As you said that, I was kind of oh, that's interesting. But it's it's more of it feels really good because it feels really good.
And also it's just another phase, right?
Yeah.
This is just another a big footnote, but
over.
Everything in your lives
and
never
a
series.
Yeah. And I think the redemption is more for me coming out, closing Auburn, it is don't let failure define you. It was that is not the end of this. That is it's a bump in the road. It's a huge bump, but let's go. We got to figure out the next thing.
I mean, 2007, I lost 2 jobs overnight within 1 week. 2/3 of my career was gone. I took a job at a magazine. They said, "You want to write about food?" I said, "Fuck no, I don't want to write about food. It sounds really pretentious. It sounds like bad poetry written about a grocery list." And I was like, "But absolutely, yes, I'll take a job." And then 2 years later, I was on Food Network, and that really changed the arc of my career. And changed my life. It was a bottom. I mean, don't let failure define you.
Yeah, for sure.
Focus on the next day and how am I going to continue.
And that's one foot in front of the other. That's not easy. I mean, much easier to say than do, but it's one foot in front of the other.
It does. I will say, those hard moments do just make you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you, that was the thing too. I think the restaurants closing in 2020, all of our restaurants, the thing is, it did make you stop and be like, God damn, I hope these things reopen. And so when they did, and what we're doing now, or the next things that you do, it does make you just appreciate them a little bit more, or allows that a little bit more.
Perspective.
Philosophy 101 when I took it in college, but there's a concept that the pleasure is only the absence of pain.
Yeah. You can't experience one without the other, right?
Right, exactly. Lilo is immense pleasure. So is the Jeune. So I can't say that about Wildland because I haven't been yet.
But I
have
up there,
on
trying all this stuff.
Yeah.
So many.
I'm not going to be disingenuous and say that I have, but God damn it, this is absolutely delicious. Congratulations, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I look forward to the next 17 restaurants that you open up, all on that one street. Are you done? Are you guys going to go more?
I don't think we're done. Okay. We have nothing right now.
No, all I say, definitely nothing right now, except, we went overnight when Wildland opened, and with Lilo now, we have about 250 employees. So overnight, we doubled. And so for us, next thing is just what is our
operations?
Yeah, what does this look like? And, we're talking about community before. What does our community look like? What are we? And so that's going to be our next
Make
our
the
next.
Okay, so we're gonna do some
Yeah.
ropes courses, some trust falls.
Yeah,
That's
trust
it.
falls.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
So
and
fun.
then you're gonna have to find like an old rollerblading store or something like that to take over.
Yeah. No more
Yeah.
normal properties for you.
All right, we are skipping $2 people, $50. We're still skipping Get Some because this has been long and I want that story to shine. Thank you guys so much. That is John Resnick, Eric Bost of Jeune, Campfire, Lilo, Wildland. If you haven't been to any of them in Carlsbad, congratulations. I hope your rock is nice that you're sleeping under. But please get up there. It's just definitely a fantastic, fantastic experience. And I think, for a room that could be pretentious, you guys manage. And I know your personalities, and it doesn't surprise me that you managed to pull it off. And I know the personalities of your team, but it feels welcome. So I mean, that's what you want. You want that 4-star treatment, and I want that 1-star fucking hangout.
Yeah, for sure.
I want that. I kind of want that 1.5-star vibe. That just
I do.
be who
Yeah,
you are.
totally. That's why I'm
I'm
laughing.
a 1.5-star human being, and I want that to be welcome in a 4-star place. That's it. That's Happy Half Hour, you guys. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.